Hello and welcome to Channel Sports on Sunday. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos. Of course, Kano Chanaga is in London joining me this afternoon.
You are looking cool. I heard that it is raining. It is raining cats and dogs and hippos in Lagos. You are looking really cool.
All right, so this is what the show is looking like this afternoon. We'll be talking about Nigerian Professional Football League. Also, talk about the under-20. We're going to be dissecting the numbers of players that were invited to camp for the Flying Eagles. And of course, it's holding in Argentina starting May 20th. Also, take a look at NPFL, the games for this weekend. And Better Insurance, finally, that 5-game... how do I put it? 5-game drawing run.
5-game draw.
5-game drawing run is finally over. So they got a win against Academy Warriors in Benin City on Saturday afternoon. Also, we'll take a look at the CAF Confederations Cup. Rivers United in action in Uyo this afternoon against Young Boys of Tanzania. Also, we'll look at the Premier League, what happened to Arsenal, how they almost crumbled against Southampton on Friday night. Somehow they managed to get a point from there, courtesy of Bukayo Saka. Also missed a penalty in the other draw they had against West Ham. And of course, we'll talk about updates coming from Rafael Nadal and also Novak Djokovic injuries. And Madrid Open will have another winner because you don't have these two star players in the tournament. So it's a worry going into the French Open when you have two dominant factors not playing warm-up games to this event. And of course, that's what it's looking like. We also touched on the FA Cup. Manchester United up against Brighton later today. And Manchester City already in the final after Riyad Mahrez magic. A hat-trick is scored. And of course, Manchester City, it's Sheffield Wednesday, not a big side, but they struggled, especially going at half-time. Just a goal up. Also touched down on the National Stadium was currently going on the closure by the sports minister. The reason behind that, we'll unfold that on the program. All right, Ken, let's start up with this one. Moise will join us from Kaduna to dice. He understands the Flying Eagles very well. He knows most of the players to talk about that. But Ken, let's start up with this, talking about the draw for the Under-20 FIFA World Cup in Argentina. Were you surprised by that draw? 5 times champions, Brazil, they're in the group. Italy, yeah, not a powerhouse when it comes to Under-20 World Cup, but then they're also powerhouse when it comes to European football. You also have Dominican Republic in that group. Obviously, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria will have a very tough one to get out of the group like that.
In this group that we are in, I know when Moise and Co join us, they should be able to dissect it. But when you say Brazil, anywhere you are, it doesn't really matter. We used to be a powerhouse. We've been to this tournament 12 times. 12 times we've been to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. We've ruled Africa. We are 7 times champions in Africa. At the point we won it 4 championships in a row. So the world is where we had to do this. Ghana is ahead of us. We want to see what we can do. Also win this. So the group stage is not too. There are some softer groups. So there are some. We'll look at it group by group. There are some softer groups to see. If I have my choice, I don't think we'll be there. But I just hope we'll let Moise join us. Let the Zoom teams let Moise in so that we can also have that. And like you said, we'll still also be going to Port Harcourt. No, we're going to Uyo this time around. To see what is happening there with Rivers United taking on the Young Africans of Tanzania.
Yeah, when you were talking about softer group, I was actually looking at the group of USA, Ecuador, Fiji Islands, and Slovakia. I mean, Nigeria could have been in the group. There's also another group that has, okay, which other group? I think the group France, Korea Republic, the Gambia, and Honduras outside France.
Yes.
France won it in 2013. But yes, if we are in that group, of course, maybe Nigeria and France will get out of that group. You look at the group of Senegal, Japan, Israel, and Colombia. That's another group that is also easy. But if you look at outside those other groups, we're having a group like Brazil, Italy, Nigeria. I don't know. It's a draw. I mean,
and
Dominican Republic.
Yes. You see, when I even saw the group, I said, okay. Dominican Republic is we can go there. But and I looked at how they qualified. Guys, see, Dominican Republic Republic is not a pushover. In the qualifier, they did wonderfully well. They were runners up and got there on merit, not just whatever it is. So that group, I don't normally talk about.
We're looking at football pedigree. You wanted to know the groups that are easier. So I was looking at football pedigree and how well they fare when it comes to a competition like this. And so when you're talking about football, usually you don't remember Dominican Republic. They remembered for, when it comes to holiday, vacation, and everything, that's what you remember them for. So just looking at that and knowing that, okay, we can make convincingly, and I think that's the last game we'll be playing. If we can just take a look at that, what our schedule is looking like, because the first game we're actually playing, we're not even playing Brazil first. I think we are playing Italy first, or Brazil first, followed by Italy before we play Dominican Republic. The way it is like that, you just want to win your first two games, and after that, you maybe somehow.
See, we don't want to go out before we play Dominican Republic. I don't. It's always ready. That is always joining us now.
We're still waiting for him to join us. So I think our first game is actually against Dominican Republic. That's our first game. So we win that, followed by Italy. That's May 21st, followed by Italy before we meet Brazil. As you said, we would have qualified before we get there. That would be fun. We would have qualified before we play Dominican Republic, or maybe we'd have had 2 draws and then we now have Dominican Republic. We beat them 3-0 and then we'll book a spot in the final. Yeah, it's easier said than done, but I know it's difficult. I know it's a hard one to crack. Yeah, okay, this confirmation of what the group is like. A group A, you have Argentina, Uzbekistan, Guatemala, and New Zealand. That's not that good group that Nigeria could have been in, but unfortunately not. In Group B, you have USA, Ecuador, Fiji, and Slovakia. Then you go to Group C, where you have Senegal, Japan, Israel, Colombia. Group D, you have Italy, Brazil, of course, where you have Nigeria, Dominican Republic. Group E, you have Uruguay, Iraq, England, and Tunisia. That's another tough group right there. Group E and Group D happens to be the toughest groups that you have. Group F, France, Korea Republic, the Gambia, and Honduras. So it happens to be Nigeria is not just the only country that is unlucky to be in a very tight group. You also have Tunisia joining Nigeria in a very, very tight group. But the Gambia, in that group where you have Honduras, Korea Republic.
Group C and Group E also. Group C, Senegal, Japan, Colombia. Group E, Uruguay, England, Tunisia.
That's a very tough one here.
They would have just given us Group B now. Who did we offend? They would have just given us Group B.
USA, Ecuador, Fiji, and Slovakia.
Since it looks like Moise is ready to join us. So let's see.
Moise is ready to join us now. So Moise, good afternoon. It's good to have you join us. Okay, I think it's not ready yet.
Unmute, Maurice. Okay. Unmute your mic.
All right. Good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be on with you guys once again. And I was trying to correct Cici, but she corrected herself already. Our first game is against Dominican Republic. After Dominican Republic, we'll take on Italy. Then after Italy, we will now play against Brazil. At this level, the one thing we should know is that at this level, the Italian team is not known as a formidable force in youth football in the world. Because even when you watch the Italian Serie A, you have very few young stars graduating. In fact, it's more like the league for veterans. Players who are way past their prime, or players who have failed to cut it elsewhere, coming to Italy to come and make a statement, or maybe upstarts in the game who are trying to use the Italian league as a springboard to get interest to move elsewhere. So we hardly see young players in Italian teams. But the biggest problem for us is the Brazilian team. But fortunately for us, we are playing them last. And in any tournament of this magnitude, normally your first game is the most important game. And our first game is a winnable game against Dominican Republic. If you win that one convincingly, remember, it's not only 2 teams that can qualify. There are also going to be space for the best placed third team. More of the best placed third teams. So we have to make sure that we do a job on Italy, on Dominican Republic, a healthy scoreline, and then move on, probably get a draw against Italy, or maybe beat Italy, and take it a notch higher by also going a step further to let's say playing at a draw against Brazil. But I can't remember if we've actually beaten Brazil at this level before, because this is under 20 and not under 20.
Under 17.
Under 17 we have defeated them. At under 20 level, I can't remember where we've defeated Brazil. And when I saw the Brazilian team that is coming to this under 20 World Cup, I I wouldn't say I fear the worst for the Nigerian team because I know the Nigerian team like the back of my hands. But I would say that would be a very, very good game because I was discussing with a friend yesterday. If we're being honest with ourselves, and this is no attack on anybody, but just the simple truth. The 8 years under Amaju Pinnick, we lost anything called development of youth football. You look around the top teams in Europe, you can't find a Nigerian. As a matter of fact, there are only 6 Nigerian under 20 players playing top flight football in Europe.
Europe, yeah.
Only 6. Only 6. And those 6, 2 are in Bulgaria. 1 is in Cyprus. 1 is in Turkey. He was with the under 17. He was with the under 20, but he was dropped. 1 is with he's not even playing top level. Okay, he's with the top team in France, Lorraine. Monday James is with it, but he's here to make his debut. And then there's another one again, who is actually with Gent of Belgium. So these are the only 6 players. And you look at it, how did we get to this position? When you get to a stage where for over the years, our under 17, under 20 teams have been a mess. They've been a mess. Let's not even sugarcoat it. Under Amaju Pinnick, we had a mess of a youth team. There was no structure. It was all about the Super Eagles, and forgetting that when you look at every player in the Super Eagles, apart from those who were born abroad, every single player there passed through the youth team of Nigeria. So that means the youth team is our conveyor belt. So that we neglected that part means that right now, whenever we are going to the tournament now, we are building from the top. Imagine if we had a vibrant under 17 team from 2 years ago. If we had a vibrant under 20 team from 2 years ago, some players would still have been within the age bracket. If we had a very good under 23 team, some players would have dropped from the under 23 to the under 20. I mean, people will always make reference to the Mikel Obi set and the rest of them. And I told them this, look, listen, prior to that time, we didn't have the DTMS. I won't mention them here, but I know of 5 players in that Mikel Obi set who were already 6 to 7 seasons in the NPFL before going to under 20, meaning they started playing in the league by the age of 12. I won't mention names here. But we have successfully trashed that because of the use of the DTMS, which claimed 13 of the players of this very under 20 team. 13 players were claimed by the DTMS because you found out that their age is different from the age that they have on the DTMS. So you have to drop them. Now, but what we are going to the World Cup with, we are going to players that I can say what we can hope for is just vibes and inshallah. That's all. And that's me here being honest. The coach cannot do magic.
Maurice, let me ask you this. Still on our group, because you were talking about Italy. I think there are some young black Africans, especially maybe Nigerian youths, who are also, in that Italian junior team setup. Have you taken into cognizance the effect that might have with Italian youth in their performances at this level?
I think I know of I watched the UEFA Youth League final between AC Milan under 19 and Hajduk Splits under 19, and because my interest there was a Nigerian who is in Ladamboso's team, Eletu. I wanted to watch Eletu play for AC Milan, and I Boso watched him, and Boso have actually called him. And I noticed there's another Nigerian in that very team again, Kevin Zeroli. But Zeroli holds an Italian passport, and not taking anything away from Eletu, I think Zeroli is the better player. He scored the goal in that game. They were beating 4-1. He scored the goal. So, but you see these players, they are almost at the same level with some of our players in the sense that they are playing youth football in Europe or playing at a level that can be compared to some of the level that some of our players. If some of these our players leave our shores of Nigeria now, they will go into the under 19 of those teams and play with those boys. Like the guy who left Remo start, Ebenezer Akinsamiro, he's playing for the under 19 of Inter Milan now. He left Remo Stars for. So if Akinsamiro can leave Remo Stars under 19 and go straight into Inter Milan under 19, he's with the under 22. He's with the under 20. So if you are bringing players from that level to come and play with him, so they're at the same level. But when you look at the English team, for instance, they have Sam Edozie. He plays in the Premier League for Southampton. Carries a Nigerian passport. They have Daniel Oyegoki. He plays in the Premier League. He has played in the Premier League for Brentford. That is not a name that you can just wish you. I think they have like 6 Nigerian players. 6 players eligible for Nigeria who are following England, and 5 of them have experience of playing in the English Premier League. Who do we have that is at that level? In time past, I remind you of the Manu Garba under 20 team. We had Isaac Success, we had Kelechi Iheanacho, we had Wilfred Ndidi, we have Musa Yaya, we had Kingsley Sokari, we had Moses Simon coming there from Gent of Belgium. Now look at it, but look at these players' transition. There were players who came from a certain under-17 team, but now we don't have any player coming from a certain under-17 team. What we have now is the coach is building from the base. No thanks to the friend of Mr. Ken Ochonogo, Amaju Pinnick.
All right. Yeah, Moise was talking about some of the players that the coach, invited. Some of the players that we will be seeing, because it's 39, you need to probably down to about 23 that will be going to Argentina. Just a few ones we have already. We have the goalkeepers, Nathaniel Uwonsu, who is from Water FC. You have Chijioke Aniagboso, who is from Giant Brillers. You have Said Jimon from Arena Academy. And also you have John Otoblom from Mavlon FC. Now, let me come to you, Maurice. You look at the goalkeepers and you see the names and you see where they play. I mean, most of them happens to be academy and clubs that are not really prominent. So you're looking at these players and you're looking at the fact that if you're going to be using these as your goalkeepers, you're picking any of these ones as your goalkeepers. So it simply means the quality is not even equal to the opponent who will be playing against. The goalkeepers first.
All right. Sorry, I had in the connection. I had to restart it all over again, and it's still giving me small issues. It's giving me.
We'll come back to you later then. Okay, Ken, the names I just reel out, because when you look at some of the clubs that you have, a Rising Stars, a Broad City, there's even one Yum FC. You hear these names and where the players are from, and then you ask yourself, where will that not just experience, exposure come from? Because you're looking at your opponent you're playing. I mean, you mentioned some players in England playing for Brentford. If you go to Italy, you have some playing for Inter Milan, AC Milan, playing the UEFA Youth League. I know that's where some of these countries will pick their players to play. And then you come to Nigeria, you hear names like Yum FC, you hear names like Mavlon FC, you hear names like Cartagena and some other names, and you're wondering, how do you compare these players that are from these particular academies to players who are already playing in a very, very high competitions like the UEFA Youth League?
All right. Okay. What you don't have, if you really ask me, it is what we have that we are giving.
Okay.
And the goalkeeper mentioned at the last under 20 African Cup of Nations. The guy from Giant Brilla, Chijioke Aniagboso, who has actually trained with the Super League, was the best keeper at that very tournament. At the WAFU tournament, Nathaniel from what was voted best goalkeeper in that very tournament as well.
I think, Maurice, we can't really hear you clearly. I think we'll need to come back to you on this one. Ken, you are going to respond to this if we have Ken, if it's clear enough for us.
No, I just wanted to remind you that last week we had Mutira Depoju on this show, and we're talking about the La Liga and NPFL La Liga under 15, and then the crux of that discussion was on how many of our clubs have youth team? That these players that they are taking to the tournament, are they signed to the clubs, or you just pick them and give them, so okay, pick 18 players, right Remo stars behind them. After the tournament, they go back, and then that is the thing. In the Inter Milans of this world, the Manchester United of this world, other teams, they sign players at age 12. At age 12, they go to their parents, they pluck them in, they start training them, they nurture them, and the rest. That is how you see in the setup. It's Southampton have a great youth setup, and that is a lot of other teams go there, because at the end of the day, you compensate them. But in that absence of our leagues, you see, the truth is you don't. Let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic. When you say professional, we say we are running a professional league. Actually, we are not. Why do I say it? For you to run a professional league is a simple thing. Your earning must be more than your expenditure. Your earning must be more than your expenditure. Even Remo Stars, that will say it is a private club. How much is Remo Stars earning? There is no club in Nigeria that is earning up to 5% of what they spend. So they have 95% or 100% or even 101 because unaccounted funds in terms of discounting funds and other things. So we do not have. So the senior team must first of all be able to cater for himself. A father must be able to take care of himself before you take care of your children. In this case, the clubs cannot take care of themselves. It is the taxpayers' money, you and I, the tax that we pay, that they use in running this club. So if the clubs don't have a club set up, if they don't have a club stadium, if they don't have some of them stay in hotels, they just bring in there, they come from their homes. So professionalism is far from where we are going. So the youth setup, which is what we're talking about here, the Brentford, the AC Milan, the European Youth League, they have their youth league within the country itself before they now go to outside. And we asked Mutiu, that do they have a league? You just get under 15, you bring them up, they play tournament, after then you disband them. You don't know where they come from. You also probably have them in their database. So it's a long way. We're not indicting anybody here, but I'm only trying to play, to kind of just let you understand what the true picture is all about. For us to have teams that the youth that can be identified with respective club, the clubs may be able to cater for themselves before they now say extended, added expenses to run a youth team, to keep a youth team. Let me tell you, the youth team, it is like running also the female team. I've been part of running the female team, the Flying Babes by Victor Tubu. And I tell you this, apart from getting accommodation for them, feeding them, housing them, you have a guard so that you have the place so that men cannot go over there. You take care of their daily needs. You take care of their monthly needs. I understand what I understand by that. There are a lot of things that goes into managing female football and managing youth football. We are not there yet. Right now, it is a burden on the state, and that burden is on the people, and that is the reality.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it there. That's the reality we're facing. When the economy is not booming, I mean, it reflects on every sector, on every aspect. And I believe what Moise was trying to establish is the fact that we have to just understand that you have to plan and take a look at development and see what you can put in it. Because if you say there's really no money for this, maybe you have to pull out of some competition until you're able to organize your house and put it together. Or when you get the funds coming from FIFA, there's funds meant for women's football, there's funds meant for generally for the federation, and then you can see how you can divide it. What is your priority? Is it the Super Eagles, which can normally, Super Eagles can actually generate funds for itself because it's early sports. Everybody wants to identify with them. That's, no matter what you're going to say, that's the bride of Nigerian football. And then you now take a look at the money maybe coming from FIFA, and then put it into development of youth football. We've seen the Moroccans doing it. We've seen the Gambians doing it. We've seen Ethiopia, some other countries, Costa Rica. They've been able to use their funds to develop their youth program and also build a structure that over time they're reaping from it. So if maybe we can also do that and reap from it, I'm happy that the IMC, the interim management committee that we have been able to bring in some sponsors to NPFL. Maybe with those sponsorships coming in, and if clubs can really key in and manage their finances well, maybe they can also embrace this aspect that you've talked about. You can also sign young players, and then those young players are in their ranks. And then when you invite a player like Ayatollah Usman from Niger Tornadoes, who is a striker, you understand, okay, this is where he's going from. We saw him with the La Liga, NPFL under 15. You saw him there, and maybe 5 years later or 3 years later, he's playing for under 20. That can easily identify. And then with 36 Lions, for instance, have some players also in this particular London Bozos squad. You have Obiaku Ife Sinachi. He plays for 36 Lions. He's a striker. You have another one, Halira Saki from Mahaniam FC. That club, I've never heard of it. You also have some from NNL, Greenlight, a player from Greenlight, Kehinde Ibrahim. So there's some players that you recognize the clubs, Ogbechi, Ogbelu, Onuche from Nassau United. That's another name you can easily recognize. Daniel Daka of Dakada FC, a midfielder, he's also there. Then you have Samsi Lawa, Pro Success Academy. I mean, these are some of the names that you look at and some of the clubs you look at or academy and you're asking where is it coming from. But it's under 20. We're not talking about under 17. So should we be having players playing in academy at in our under 20 squad? Academy players under 20. How does that even work?
Let's ask. I think Maurice is Maurice with us.
If he's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I think no. I think he's not ready. These are some of the questions we plan to actually, ask him. So he's not ready. Yeah.
I think if I can recollect correctly, I think maybe Isaac Success came in from the academies when
Isaac Success, he was under 17. He wasn't under 20. He was from under 17.
Under 17, exactly.
Yes, most of those under 17, it's easier for you to easily pick those. But when you're now playing under 20, I mean, you have, if you take a look at the whole names, I wish if he's ready, we can see the full list of the players that we have. And you discover that there's one, Yum Yum FC. I think maybe it's Nationwide League or something, but you just look at some names and you're asking yourself, okay, I think we have midfielders now. Caleb Uche Dikwe. Caleb is actually plays for Mavlon FC. That's the player you have. Then you have Ogbelu Onuche, who plays for Nassau United. You have Daniel Daga that I talked about earlier. He plays for Dakada FC. Samsi Lawa plays for Pro Success Academy. Biyaminu Musa plays for Malafia FC. Hitler Niye plays for 36 Lions. You have Mohamed Aminu playing for Gombe United. Then you also have John Joshua, who plays for Nassau United. Musa Usman, Malataki FC. Ibrahim Abdullahi, who plays for Samba FC, and these are the midfielders. So when you look at players like this, I mean, you see some names and you're like, okay, fine. But if you look at defenders, for instance, or you look at the forwards, you look at defenders, you go to Augustine Unjok, who plays for Abia Warriors. Okay, these are the forwards. Take a look at this one. Haliru Seriki of Mahanian FC, Kende Ibrahim of Greenlight FC, Shetima Abubakar from Central Academy. Those are some of these I'm talking about. Jude Sunday from Ria Safira FC, Obiaku Ifesinachi, 36 Lion, Abdullahi Usman Samba FC, Salem Fago, Mavlon FC, Godwin Oshitagba Babi from Kwara United, and Babangida Abubakar from Malantaki FC. So these are the players, some of them invited into that squad. We've seen the midfielders. You can also see the defenders that we have. We have Augustine Unjoku from Abia Warriors, Ezekiel Bala Mohammed. Then you also have Abdusalam, Ezekiel Bala. Then you have Mohammed Abdusalam from Rising Stars, Solomon Agbalaka, Broad FC, and Israel Domingo from Family Worship FC. So when you look at these players and then you're seeing some from academy, that's why I was asking the questions. If you can actually, beat your chest and say you're bringing a player from an academy for under 20 level. That means we don't even have when you have an academy, so you can still be 20 or 25 and still playing academy football. That's not what you can call development, or there is no rule actually governing these academies. I remember one of the presidential candidates for the NFF elections was on this show who talked about how he intends to actually regulate academies. So you have real age players. I mean, when I mean real age players, you have a guide. For these academies, all the academies are registered under Nigerian Football Federation. They have a policy governing them, and so you don't have players above 20 or 25 actually still playing for under 20 for academies. Can we have this functioning so you can have the actual age from these academies actually coming in to play for these youth tournaments that we have?
Actually, by FIFA rules, the age of development for players from age 12 to age 21.
Okay.
So within that setup, they said they are still being trained. Okay. So, but yes. So even when you now sign your first professional contract, clubs get compensation for the training which the players got from age 12 to age 21. Yes. So as long as they are within that age, the only problem we're having is that I didn't think we also have like these academies, that maybe we'll have a league for the academies where you can see them playing themselves and you can identify potential talent within the age grade. Then it wouldn't be a problem. You understand? So because how do you spot this talent? It's not just because they are playing for academies. The thing is, playing for academies, how did you see them? Where did they play? How did you know, who did they play against? And which competition, in which tournament? There are no leagues. We can have state leagues, or leagues that, okay, within the league you can go and watch these players. Maybe some tournament you can go and watch where you can now pick them up from there, but not somebody calling the coach and said, oh, Coach Ladamboso, there is one player I saw, go and see him. Of course, you can see sport talent that way, but that is how Osimhen was spotted. Somebody took him to camp, and took Mandela Munike and co. They now look at this player, giving chance to go. I think Mowis told us the story of how they gave him extra time to play a few more minutes, and then that is how Osimhen was picking up. And today we all know that he's a global superstar. So basically, within that age, you can do that. You can. But the thing is that what is the system that we are using, in order to not just develop them, but also to nurture, identify and nurture these players. We still have a way to go. In the absence of funds, we can think outside the box and say, okay, fine, how can we congregate? How can we converge? How can we bring them together so that we can spot this talent? We can spot them. You understand? And that is the thing. And let's see, because we still have to go to you. And Sammy Virginia has been waiting for us to give us updates from what is happening right there at the Rivers United at Nest of Champions training. I think he's at the stadium. And let's see how it goes, sis.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Talking about the game between Rivers United and, of course, big one, Young Africans of Tanzania. This is Young Africans of Tanzania, and that game will be played at Godswill Akpabio Stadium, 2 p.m. Today. If you can have a confirmation of that game for Rivers United, remember what they did to Young Africans also. I think it was 2021. When that game was, they beat them home and away. But right now, Young Africans, they top their group, and from the form they're on right now, topping their group at the group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup, and not just that, in the league also, they're also topping the league. So it tells you the good form they're coming in. And the coach, Stanley Neguma, has mentioned that he was going to have a different approach to this particular game when they played against them. Since it's a home game, so they need to use the opportunity to play this quarterfinal very well and see how they can progress into semifinals. So if we have a Sammy Wojeyan to join us, he will be joining us to talk more about Rivers United, how prepared they are, and what they've been doing to ensure that fans will come to the Uyo Stadium. They're not playing at home, but they're not playing at home. So they're doing a lot. I wish you can join us. Okay, I think Sam is not ready to join us. If he's able to join us, so we're asking questions on how they can fill that big stadium, because that will be important for them. When you have the fans, cheering you on, somehow that 12th man energy gets to you and you feed up from it, and you're able to, get the goals rolling inside the net. When Sans joins, I'll talk more about this one. But Ken, for you, Rivers United, I mean, they're playing at home. That home advantage is already there, whether you have your fans with you or not. But using that home advantage, they can score as many goals as they can in this game, not just a very slim victory.
Yeah, I think they've been prepared for this. A little bit disappointed that they has to go and play this at Uyo, because they've done all they can to see that at the Adokia Mezemeka Stadium will be fit. Where we saw, I think 2 weeks back, where people from CAF went to go and inspect the stadium, and we believe that they would have gotten a favorable update coming from Cairo, but that is not the case now. So they are still playing their games at the Godswill Akpabio, the Nest of Champions in Uyo. It has been a home for them. They've won all their games there, and we do expect that today will not be different. But then now it is a knockout stage. It's not just getting 3 points; it is getting a win and getting a comfortable win, because you are still going to travel to go and play the Young Africans in Tanzania. So basically, that should be what the team will be up to. Let's see if we can join up with Sammy. He's been trying to join us and see if he can give us an update. He's right there at the stadium, as we speak. All
right, while we are waiting for Sammy to join us on this Rivers United and the game against Young Africans of Tanzania. Talking about the CAF Confederations Cup quarterfinals, first leg in Nigeria, Uyo Stadium. That's where it will be taking place at 2 p.m. Just a few minutes from now, you have that game on. So they'll be mobilizing fans to see if they can, join them and cheer them to victory and see. We don't know how many people come to the stadium, but then notwithstanding, Rivers United, they have it all to play for and get a resounding win. So the second leg may not be a big problem for them when they go away from home.
Yes.
All right, let's move away from this one and quickly talk about the National Stadium closure. Ken, the National Stadium, monument, edifice, everyone talked about it when it was built in 1972, or the tournaments that's hosted from the All African Games in 1973 to, of course, the Africa Cup of Nations in 2000. 1980 also Africa Cup of Nations where Nigeria also won, and not just that, but just recently, I think it was on Wednesday morning, heavy downpour, heavy rain across Lagos. Of course, that 51-year-old edifice, one of the 4 floodlights at the stadium, the mast fell off. Broke halfway and fell off. And that's the reason the sports minister have ordered that it can be closed temporarily due to the collapse of that floodlight. And also he had to go there to inspect the mast and the remaining standings of the mast, and also spoke with the media after that he has ordered the closure of it. And he was also happy that no one died during that time. Of course, he believes that it's because, said he inspected 3 other lights masts and the effects of age and weather elements are very visible. So that's the reason he's asking that it should be closed based on his assessment for the, safety of people, and also advise experts and all those, who are around to also try how they can also access it for necessary action to be taken. We know the concession process towards the fully privatizing this stadium is actually going on. It began last year, and of course, he believes that the federal government also see what they can do to ensure that the ICRC that has been given for that comprehensive rehabilitation and upgrade of the stadium will be promptly done, so that they, can avoid such incidents happening. I think Sammy is ready to join us now, from Uyo, to tell us what they've been doing to ensure that all the fans in Uyo will support Rivers United when they are playing against the Tanzanian champions. Sammy?
King of the South.
Yeah, good afternoon, Cecilia. Good afternoon to you, my big brother, Ken. Yes, you're right. I've been combing the streets of Uyo since Thursday, visiting all the radio and all the TV stations in the city and trying to drum up support for the champions of Nigeria, the #1 club in Nigeria today. If you use the Nigeria Premier League as a yardstick to judge, to come out in their numbers to support Rivers United today. Kickoff of the game is just a few moments away, less than an hour away. It's going to kick off at 2 p.m. Nigerian time today. It's Rivers United against Young Africans of Tanzania. Remember, Rivers United is the only Nigerian club still in the running for success in Inter-CAF club competition. And I will also add at this point in time that no Nigerian club has ever won the CAF Confederation Cup title. So the objective is pretty much straightforward for Rivers United. The club doesn't want to end its run in the quarterfinal stage of the competition. The club wants to go all the way, even as we see the players walking out, training. And in any moment from now, they're going to turn out on the turf at the Nest of Champions. And that's where I am right now, to have the traditional feel of the pitch, the traditional pre-match warm-ups. Kickoff, like I said, is just under an hour away. It's going to be a big one between Rivers United FC and Young Africans of Tanzania. Cecilia.
Welcome back. Kwemi Ajala is in the studio right now. Traffic, right?
That should never be an excuse, but
yeah, I know.
We are not bending insurance, so we can't fly. It's nice to
but they are flying now.
Clement weather, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, okay, before we just go to, some of the things we've talked about on the 20, we've mentioned the national state. We'll come to that later. Then we're talking about Rivers United, against Young Africans this afternoon in Uyo. Sam is on Zoom joining us from Uyo, and how he has been going around trying to sensitize people to come to Uyo Stadium to watch. That's what you get when you're not really playing at home. But I'm happy that the Adokia Misimaka Stadium is actually ready now. So maybe subsequently, when they get into the continent next season, they have opportunity to play there.
Yeah, the last time there was that visit. We thought this match would be actually be played there. So we can only hope that they are doing well in the league and they are also there. And luckily for them, Simba, they lost in the Champions League. So that should give them the impetus that they can actually also do this against the young Tanzania. So Rivers, they've done it before against them, though almost like 5 years ago. So there is nothing to fear about it, Tanzania, though the Tanzanian football is on the rise now because when you have a team in the Champions League, which we have not been in a long time for almost 8 years now, if not more than 8 years, and also you're also a team in the Champions League, a team in the Confederations Cup. Knockout stage, it cannot be better for that national league. So, but our sole representative, we wish them the very best.
Yeah, the very best as well. Wishing them. Okay, of course, Ken, you were going to ask Sam some questions because you're talking about. I mean, this is a game.
My brother.
Okay.
I want to go. Okay, Sammy, I'll add up there because we need to hear from Sammy, and he's just also joining us. I know, like Sammy said, he's been doing a lot, going around mobilizing, trying to get set up build a culture of supportership with the Rivers United jerseys being distributed all over in Port Harcourt, radio stations and everywhere. I've been following every step of what Sammy is doing. It is not. I think this is beyond what a man can do, but he has started well. It's a foundation that needs to be built upon, and not just for match days, but also a continuum that you can build that fan culture, that fan base. Sammy, beyond that, I don't know. Two things before I drop my pen now and leave the show for you guys to continue. What are the expectations in terms of on-field performance of what the result that you're expecting? Of course, you can prepare. You don't know what other people are doing. If you are running 100 meters, you know this is the time you want to run. But this is a game, so you are playing against somebody else and you have to prepare. But the other thing is based on how much you are putting to bring the fans, how many fans that they are doing, the supportership, what kind of live people are we seeing right there that will come to the next of champions to come and support the team. So on-field performance, what are the expectations? Supportership, what are the expectations? Gentlemen, before Sammy does that, CC and Ope, I think I dropped my pen. You guys get this show going. I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Okay, to answer your question, Ken, please, Cecilia, can you confirm you can hear me?
Yeah, of course. Very well, I can.
Fantastic. Okay, before I answer the question, if I may, I'm gonna do a flip of my. Okay, I'm trying to do a flip of my screen now because the two sets of players have just come into the pitch. Now I'm going to do this. Yeah, I don't know if you can see them from my position. These are the Rivers United players are in blue. Right now, I can see players like Naibe Atpeshiri, Chiamaka Madu, Bolaji Shakin, and at the far side, I can see the three goalkeepers of Rivers United. There is Saidu Mutawa Takilu. He was a former Rangers international goalkeeper. He's a Ghanaian by birth. There is also Victor Sochima. Victor Sochima, of course, was the only local player who was invited for Nigeria's last set of international qualifiers against Guinea-Bissau. And there's also Abiodun Akonde. He's a mainstay for Rivers United. He was in the team from around 2017 when they played in the CAF Champions League, played in the CAF Confederation Cup. He was absolutely peerless in an unforgettable game in Rabat when Rivers United lost by the odd goal in 3 against FUS Rabat. I can also see Makai Ohawume there. So many quality players for Rivers United FC. The consensus amongst many is that Rivers United is the best Nigerian club today on the continent. And it's not a coincidence that this is the only Nigerian club still on the continent. I'm going to move my screen to the right-hand side, and you can see this set of players representing a grand establishment of African football, founded in 1935. Young Africans, they call them. The locals will prefer to go for Yanga Bingwa. Now, there is a precedence between Rivers United and Yanga Bingwa. They met in 2021. In a CAF competition as well. Rivers United won the first leg by a 0-0 at the Adokia Mesimaka Stadium. And when they went to Dar es Salaam to face this young African side, a lot of antics, lots of issues that happened outside the pitch. But Rivers United put that behind them and won by 1-0. So 2-0 aggregate success for Rivers United that time around. But let me also quickly add before I flip the screen and come back to my face, which is not as handsome as Okwe's face. I know he wears a smile on his face right now. Let me also state here that Rivers United have resolved to get a positive result from this game, because the second leg is in Dar es Salaam, and it will mean that young Africans will know exactly what they need to do in that game. So we're looking forward to kickoff, which is less than an hour away. Rivers United against Young Africans of Tanzania here at the Nest of Champions, the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, and I can confirm that this will be a wonderful game. Cecilia.
Yeah, hopefully it's a wonderful game for Rivers United. West Ham, we want to thank you so much for taking our time to join us. I know you want to get ready for the game and go watch the team, have their light training before the game starts at 2 p.m. And of course, after the game, hopefully we get to talk to you again, and we'll be celebrating the victory in both Uyo and also in Dar es Salaam. Hopefully you can achieve that. What happened in 2021 can happen again.
Absolutely. And let me just quickly add here that even though these two teams have met in the past in 2021, it's only 4 players who played from those 2 games in 2021 who are part of the Rivers United squad. So yes, Rivers United may have won in 2021, but this is a completely new, different Rivers United team. And it's going to be 2 different games, first in Uyo and then in about a week's time in Dar es Salaam. Cecilia.
All right, thank you so much, Sami, for joining us on this program. So Sami Wenjayan happens to be the special advisor to the Commissioner for Sports of Rivers State, Barrister Chris Green. Okay, yeah, Rivers United, wishing them all the best. 2 p.m., that's when they will be playing. But before you came in, we touched on a little bit on the 20. You're just overall, maybe in 1 minute, just wrap it up with your view concerning the under 20 team.
I think for the last time, we're also victims of this kind of thing when the Austria was taken away from us in 1995 on the flimsy excuse of meningitis, though it has to do more like with our human rights record under General Abacha then. So now we have the issues with Indonesia, and now instead of talking about the talent, because for the under 21, it's not about the future. Come and see the future talent today. It's like we are bringing the future backwards so that we can see them today. So that should be the talking point. But unfortunately, the talking point is not about taking it from Indonesia because of Israel, taking it to Argentina. But again, I think we are blessed because Argentina, their track record in this after they destroyed the Brazilians who were just winning back to back. So they have a track record. They have the players we can point to, the players that form the bulk of the national team from 2006, where we've been expecting Argentina to do something about the World Cup, because Jose Peckerman was their long-standing coach at that level, and he took them to 2006. Well, I think for now we'll do away with the shenanigans of taking the Austria from and actually face the tournament itself. But for Nigerians, how confident are we about this team? I can tell you that Nigeria are more confident about the under-16 team than this team.
Okay. Rest it there. All right. On the National Stadium, just a quick one on it. I mean, Minister has ordered the closure because he wants safety for people around, because he said he inspected the other 3 standing floodlights, I mean, because of weather. I mean, it's been 51 years, 1972. It's a long time. No maintenance, although the concession that he's been trying to do, partial concession is there. But then they want to do overall rehabilitation of that stadium. Process is going on. So because of that, just on Friday night, ordered that it should be closed so that, work can be done.
Yeah, I think, should we say it's force majeure? Okay. It can happen anywhere. And, but again, when it's aided, should we say even aided by the dormant nature of that facility, because you can't just keep any facility in doldrum. Things like this are about to happen. But again, even if the facility wasn't used, this could still have happened. But again, with proper maintenance, with proper check, and I keep going back to the issue with Moshood Abiola Stadium, where the consulting firm said, look, we'll do this thing for like 1.2 billion. The federal government said no, and that year, the budget for the maintenance for about the 5 federal government stadia was about 500 and something. So if a stadium was supposed to go up 1.2 billion and 5 of them, you are giving them 500 million, that means we are really not serious with our maintenance culture. But again, we are thankful that no life was lost. But again, this is not good for our image. And I think the investigation should be concluded as soon as practicable.
As possible. That's it right there. All right, let's move away from this and quickly go to Nigeria Premier Football League, the games for this weekend, and the one that was played on Saturday, which was Ben Insurance and Academy, whereas that game ended 2-1 in favor of Ben Insurance. After the draws, 5 draws in a row, finally, they are they're back to winning, and it was match day 15. That's what they won. And in this particular game, Ben Insurance, of course, scored first. Seriki was the one who scored 54th minute. I mean, the first half, it was goalless. I mean, there was the fears. What's going to happen? Is it going to be another draw or something? Or somehow, after he scored, Oguyi also scored in the 58 minutes, 2 goals in 4 minutes, 2 different players before Mohamed Bata was able to score that penalty 69th minute. Of course, it ended 2-1 in favor, of course, Ben Insurance, who were playing at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. Back to winning ways. You were expecting, oh, they're going to lose in draws. Where are they going to lose all these draws? Not enough. But then, finally, they overcome all that. And right now, they're back to winning again.
I don't know the telepathic understanding between the Edo Arsenal and the London Arsenal, because when the other one, each of them get a bad result, you expect it to be created elsewhere. So now they were on the run of 5 draws, as the other Arsenal 3 draws. So, but I think
Arsenal shouldn't try and make it 5. No. I mean, the next one should be a win. Ben Insurance have won now, so they shake a queue and also win the next game.
Should, but again, I think luckily for them, that would be against Man City. But back to our own Arsenal, I think it's good. And again, you know, they have the difference between a league competition and a tournament, because when you have opportunity to make amends, and I think that's what they are doing. But again, you still have the bigger picture, because after this, the top, the Super 6 will still be there for them. So it's good that they get their group back now, so that by the time they get to the because there is nothing that will not make them to actually qualify because of the point they've amassed early in the season. So there's not that will not make them qualify for the end of the season competition, which should determine the league winners for this year.
Yeah, all right. And let's look at other games for this weekend. They maintain that unbeaten on 15 now, and they are top of the group, still very at the top. Look at other games for today, games that will be played. We have Niger Tornadoes being action against Abia Warriors. Okay, let's take a look at this one, Group A, where you have Eimba and Remo Stars in action, Plateau United and Nasuru United, Shooting Stars and Gobe, Akwa United and Kwara United. These 2 teams will be in action. But let's flip over to Group B. The teams we have: Doma United and Bayelsa United in action, Niger Tornadoes and Abia Warriors, Sunshine Stars and Lobby Stars, Dakada FC and Enugu Rangers. These are the games for today. And of course, all games start at 4 p.m. Of course, it's Nigerian time because it's NPFL.
I think I'll stick with Eimba Remo Stars.
Okay.
Eimba Remo Stars. Yeah. The 2 teams trying to get the ticket. So Eimba, their last outing, they also had the bad patch, and they came out strong the last time. So Remo, because of the lost point, except they would do another Juventus for them. You know, Juve, they had their 15-point reversal reinstated, and it moved them from 7th position to 2nd position in the Serie A. So except Remo have that kind of cushion, I think they need to fight nail and tooth in all their matches. They've not had the best of results in the past 4 matches, but again, they are the Remo Star happens to be the Cinderella team for this league. The team everybody expects to be the flagship, the way other teams should be modeled. So they have the sympathy and empathy of neutral fans, if I may put it that way. So if you don't have your traditional team to support, Remo Star naturally is the team to support, because the way people were envisaged, what we have clamored for over the years, is what actually is playing out over there in Ikene. So for me, this week, I think is people should go to Aba, Eimba versus Remo Stars.
And watch the game. Eimba is 2nd on the log, and Remo Stars are 5th because of that 3-point deduction. So it's not cool for them. Fans need to behave themselves, and also the managers and everyone. Behave yourself, and you'll not have 3 points and 3 goals deducted from your team. I love what IMC is doing. So fans and teams, they obviously will want to do the right thing to maintain their position on the table. All right, let's quickly touch down on this one, which is the FA Cup semi-final. Manchester City are in the final. It was all about Riyad Mahrez. I mean, when you have a player, first he scored the penalty, the 2nd goal, and the 3rd goal. We're expecting Erling Haaland, to be the one that would take them to the final. But somehow Riyad Mahrez got other ideas. I mean, he collected the match ball, and of course, they are in the final against, Sheffield Wednesday. But I think this Manchester City side would prefer to face a side from Brighton and not prefer to face Manchester United than facing Brighton, because it was hard for them to break down this team. It was 44th minute right before they could even get their first goal.
I think this season we're having something where teams are doing well in their competitions and in their league. Because Sheffield now they are on the verge of clicking the automatic ticket from the Championship to the Premier League, because they need a victory. With 3 points, they have 85 points, and the next team, Luton, can have more than 84 points. So after the disappointment, in quote, disappointment of losing the semi-final year, they go back to their league, and that will have given them a wonderful season, because winning their next match gives them automatic promotion. But one thing, yesterday, Pep was paying tribute to Guardiola, and when someone starts paying tribute to you from your past, that means you actually touch a nerve, because he started talking about, we know what he has done from his days in Leicester City and what have you. Remember, Mahrez, even in their European competition, is more like a big player. So and that is what I'll be going for Pep. Pep develops a team of players. So when you get your opportunity, you actually seize it. Mahrez has been there from when Alan came. He became in their European surgeon, became a bad player. And when he had this opportunity, he actually showed his class. And it now takes us back to Mahrez and Kante from Leicester. And we can see Kante maybe because of injury, but Mahrez here is on the rise.
Well, that's how we'll wrap it up on the show today. Thank you so much for watching. Kwame, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me, sister.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Have a great day.